When I first started in real estate, and what you probably are experiencing or have experienced, is the amount of stuff that gets thrown at you when you first get into it. Now, one of the things I overlooked during this was the simple concept of lock boxes, and more importantly, how to open them. Now, when I first walked up to my first showing, I was a wreck for so many reasons. I had no clue what to do just in general as an agent, but also I'm walking up to this house not understanding how to even open the lockbox. For those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Joe Skipper, and I'm the owner of Skipper Realty Group, brokered by eXp Realty. And today we're going to take a look at the different types of lockboxes, and more importantly, how to access them. And I'm going to actually show you them and show you how to use them so that you don't have to be like me on your first time out. Now, if you haven't already, if you could do me a huge favor and hit that like button, I would truly appreciate it. Also, if you want to stay up to date on the latest marketing techniques and information for real estate agents out there today, then consider subscribing to my page. I put out content regularly so that you can be a more successful agent and thrive in this career as a real estate broker. Okay, so let's get started with the basics of lockboxes. Now, what I've experienced is there are three main types of lockboxes that I've encountered. That is a generic type lockbox, the SupraKey, and the SentriKey. So let's take a look at each one of those. Okay, hopefully you have everything in here and can see all the lockboxes. We'll go over them in particular. The first one is the Contractor Lockbox. This is the simplest one that you can have. This needs your agent or the listing agent to give you the actual code, but really all it is, generally they'll have a reset button on here to reset all the buttons so that you can start fresh, type in your code, and then generally have a latch or a button that will release the latch and open the lockbox for you to access the key. These are very simple. The only mistakes that I've seen that I've made is either the agent gives me the wrong code, or I forgot to reset the buttons, or an important part is when you pull them out, you show the house and you put them back in, you have to retype in the code, pull down on this latch, and then lock it. So not super complicated, but those are some of the issues that I've had. These are pretty simple. All you need is the agent's code when you get there. The next one is the Sentry lock. This is a newer, but we just came out with a newer one. So this is what you'll see on a lot of them. For now, there's going to be a ton of these, and they're generally function the same. It's just a little bit better technology on the newer ones, but the concept is all the same. This one, you need this and your phone and the app on your phone, and I'll show you that in a second. But yeah, all you need here is you just these have all these functions and all these buttons. Don't get distracted by these. These are more of an in-depth thing of figuring out your lockbox, and if there's an error code and things like this. There's a keypad that's super functional, and the enter button is the number one thing we're going to have to look at to get into a house. So we'll go into that. Okay, so we are in the SentriKey app right now. So basically, as you can see, there's a release shackle button, there's a get access code button, an access log, and an assign lockbox. So again, we can go into so much detail about this sort of program and what it does, but really we're just looking to get into the lockbox. So when you are hooked up to this, you are going to see all of this, and all you have to do is go to the lockbox, and in the bottom right corner, press the enter button. It's going to basically link the Bluetooth from the lockbox to your phone. My phone particularly has facial ID. You may have a code, and as you can see, it's opening the key compartment, and you can actually hear it open. It makes a little beep, and then all you do is open it. It's that simple. It's open. What I do is generally leave it open until I'm done with my showing. It shows me that I haven't put the keys back, and then when I push it up, you just basically close it, and it locks automatically. There's a certain time period that it takes to lock it automatically, so just make sure that it's reached that time period so you don't open it, shut it again, and then it's still loose. So, but super simple. The problems that I've had issues with is sometimes with self-service, you don't have, even though it's Bluetooth, sometimes it takes a little bit, and there's a lag time between recognizing your facial ID to get access and the lockbox. So just be patient with it, because it may just take a little bit of time. It looks like it's frozen, or it looks like it's not going to function, and then all of a sudden that lockbox opens. So just make sure that you just be patient with that. What other things that have I done that have been mess ups? That really is the biggest issue, is just making sure that you press enter, getting the facial ID, or making sure you know your code or have facial ID, and then keeping it close to the lockbox, and it'll open up for you. If you go back to the app, I'll show you really quickly how to release the shackle. There's a button up in the top left corner, or the upper left corner. You basically will press release shackle, and it's the same thing. It's going to tell you to press the enter or the lock button. It's going to gather the lockbox info and your information. it's gonna warn you to say, hey, we're gonna drop this shackle, so you better be careful and hold on to the lockbox. You press OK, and you'll hear it working, and you'll hear it releasing its shackle. Once it's finished, you can release the shackle. You can put this on the door, put this on anything else, and it will, you can hear it lock back up. And then once it's locked back up, whenever you put it back in, it's gonna lock in place, and then it's stuck on wherever you go. To get back access again, you just press release shackle, it recognizes your facial ID, and then you can go from there. Super simple. Nothing I've had super complicated with this, more of just like being in maybe rural areas or areas that don't have a lot of cell service. The linkage between the Bluetooth, it still doesn't work, even though technically Bluetooth, it just, some things just didn't work very well. Moving on to the SupraKey key. This one for us is in Salem, Kaiser, Staten. The WVMLS area uses a lot of these. As you can see, it's slightly different. Doesn't have any of the keypads. This one accesses from the bottom of the lockbox, and this is important for a couple reasons. This bottom, when you push up on this black piece, it's gonna activate the Bluetooth system within this thing. If you don't do that, it's not gonna have the Bluetooth active, and it's not gonna link to your phone. So let's get into the key, the app that I have for it. As you can see here, it's got all sorts of things that you can look at to see what your lockbox is doing. And my lockboxes, you can message other agents, you can manage the access and who gets in access. Down at the bottom, you can see the open shackle and the obtain key. Those are the most important parts of this, is to obtain the key to when you're showing it. And one thing I will say is down in the very bottom, you can see the update. There's no line through it, but there'll be a red line through it sometimes that'll tell you need to update the app. Make sure you update the app, because it's just all the little bug fixes and software fixes and things like that. So make sure if you haven't been in a while that you update that app before you show up to a showing, so that it's all ready to go. But yeah, this one's just as simple, a little bit different. You'll say obtain the key. It's gonna ask for your PIN number. Nope, and I just gave it the wrong PIN number, so I'm gonna cancel. That's a great example of a mistake for you. But obtain the key, you're gonna put your PIN number in, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna say up on the top, it's gonna say push the key container to turn on the Bluetooth. So push up on that black container that we were mentioning. That's gonna activate the Bluetooth. It's gonna open the lockbox, and it'll let you know, it'll say success, push the key, and then your lockbox is open. So as you can see, the lockbox comes open, and you can access the key here. So to put it back in, all you're gonna do is put it back up through the bottom, push up, and it'll lock in place, and then that way it's stuck. The key things that I had, there's two things that I had that went wrong. One was I forgot my code. So if you don't have your code, you're not gonna get into this lockbox. The other one is that you just assume that the Bluetooth is always activated. I would walk up, I'd press my code in perfectly, and I'd just sit there. Well, you have to push up on that bottom of the container to make sure, and you'll see a red blinking light. I don't know if you can see it, but you'll see a red blinking light in here that shows that the Bluetooth is activated. So make sure that's activated before you start doing all your stuff. But other than that, those are the issues that I mainly had with those. They are easy to work with, but when you're first doing it or you're not familiar with these, it can be super intimidating and super complicated. So hopefully I helped you with those. I think that's it for those, and hope if you guys have any questions, obviously feel free to reach out to me about these lockboxes or anything else you may have. But thanks, guys. Now, I hope this video helped you guys, and hope that you all get out there and dominate in this industry. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my page to stay up to date with the latest tools, techniques, and tips for real estate agents in today's market. Thanks, guys.